Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Ch.1 Onikakushi. Last episode, what exactly did happen? Keiichi and Rena had a discussion, and Rena was telling Keiichi how basically everything he's doing emulates everything Satoshi did before he transferred out or disappeared. So that's fun. Keiichi started swinging a bat around, and now he's scared in his house. So yeah, that's what happened last episode. Last episode in the comments, I was told that the BGM is pretty quiet. So I decided to turn it up. You can't hear it right now because there's not any music playing, but hopefully it's a bit better now. If it's not, then if this isn't the finale, then I'll turn it up next episode. If it is, then I'll turn it up when I do chapter 2. So, yeah, there's a few other things to discuss, so I'm just gonna right click so I can look at the comments. So, we're gonna go into spoiler time eventually. I will tell you when. So, first things first, I was told that Uishi is actually pronounced Oishi. So, got it. The reason I pronounce it Uishi is because Higurashi was one of the first anime I watched, so the names were some of the first Japanese names I ever became familiar with. So I just pronounced them how I saw them on screen. So like I think I pronounced Mion Mion and Shion Shion. But, like, some of them I pronounced properly, like Keiichi I think I always pronounced properly, but Oishi I always pronounced Uishi. So, yeah, just a hard habit to break because of how long I've known the character, at least his existence. I don't actually know a lot about him because I forgot, but, yeah. Next thing, this is not a comment, but, remember how last episode at the beginning I was talking about how the anime might end up covering the first 4 arcs of Higurashi? Well, this morning I noticed something that kind of helps that theory a bit more. I have the remaining 7 chapters on my Steam wishlist so that I get emails if they're on sale or something, because when they all go on sale, I'm probably just going to buy all of them at once, so yeah, and I got an email that 2, 3, and 4 were on sale. And it's a special promotion. It's not just a sale. Because if it was just a regular sale, I'm pretty sure all of them, all 7 of them, would be on sale. It was just 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, still full price. So, yeah, it's a special promotion ending, I think, like the 14th or 15th of October. So it got me thinking, is this because of the anime? It's just a theory. I could be wrong, but I would not at all be surprised if that means the anime is going to cover all 4 of those arcs. So, yeah, last comment, we go into spoiler time. So, yeah, same rules apply as usual. When I pull up the menu, that means you can unmute if you don't want to hear the spoilers. So, yeah, spoiler time starting now. So I was told in the comments that there is a reason why Irie would not show up in Onikakushi in the anime. So, yeah, the reason why, because I don't know the reason currently, comes at the end of this chapter. So we might see it this episode, but we might not. So, yeah, I have no idea what this reason is, but I suppose we will see. The commenter also mentioned how they wouldn't say it 100% debunks the theory of him being introduced earlier. I currently still think it's possible, but even if he can't show up in Onikakushi, that doesn't mean he can't show up in the 2nd chapter, which I found out through the email I got about 2, 3, and 4 being on sale. Is called Watanagashi, which I don't know how I ever forgot that. Oh, cool, my Best Buy order shipped. Joker amiibo, let's go. Anyways, yeah, so that's something, and I guess I can bring this up too. The first arc of Higurashi Kai, which from what I remember, the anime specifically, not the game, apparently that arc was invented for the anime because they forgot to show some key details earlier. So that's interesting, the fact that they actually did that because they left out some stuff in earlier arcs. That's very interesting. From what I remember, I think that was the arc where, like, everyone dropped dead and Satoko was the only one left alive. I don't know why I remember so much from that arc. It's probably because it was the first few episodes of the second season. But, yeah. Otherwise, I don't really remember any of the other arcs. I might as well just go into detail on how much I remember, because I've never really done that. So as far as, I'm gonna minimize that now. As far as Onikakushi goes, I basically remember everything. There were a few things that I didn't, but, like, the general story I remembered all of. Arc 2, Watanagashi. All I really remember about it is that's when Shion is introduced, and it's Mion who goes crazy. But I think there is still the question of whether that was Mion or Shion, because a later arc has Shion go crazy, and it plays out basically the exact same as the second arc, but from Shion's perspective. So in Watanagashi, it could have been Shion the entire time instead of Mion, but I don't think I ever learned or really thought about which twin it was. So, yeah, that's about all I remember from that arc. The third arc, as far as I know, that one focuses more on Satoko, I'm pretty sure. That's the only reason I'm basing it off of that is because, like, on Steam, each of the chapters are all displayed alongside a different character. So, like, 1 has Rena as the icon, 2 has Mion, 3 has Satoko, 4 has Rika, 5 has Shion, 6 has Keiichi, 7 has Hanyu, and 8 has Takano. So, yeah, unless I'm misremembering, but I don't think I am. So I think the third arc focuses a lot more on Satoko, but I think it is Keiichi and Satoko who go mad in that one. Maybe Keiichi doesn't, but I know Keiichi does kill someone in that arc with a baseball bat. So, yeah, that's about all I remember. It just focuses a lot on Satoko and Keiichi helping her, I'm pretty sure. That's all I remember. Fourth arc, I remember jack shit. Absolutely nothing. So, yeah. Unless it's a different arc that I'm not thinking of, but I don't think I remember anything from that one. The fifth arc, assuming that the fifth arc being labeled by Shion on Steam means that it focuses a lot on Shion, I'm assuming that that's the arc where Shion goes mad, and it's basically a parallel to the second arc, except it's Shion going mad instead of Mion. And I think it focuses a lot on Satoshi also, because from what I remember, Shion was in love with Satoshi. But that's all I remember from it. I think that's the arc with the fingernail scene, and also the scene where Rika stabs herself several times in the neck with a knife. And also Satoko getting tortured, yeah. That's a pretty iconic arc, as far as I remember from the anime. So, yeah, I think that might have been in Kai, but I can't remember for sure. Sixth arc, I don't remember a bunch. It's either the fourth or the sixth arc, then, where Rena goes mad. Because I know there's an arc where Rena goes mad. I don't know if it's the fourth or the sixth arc. Like, she takes a whole school hostage, and she's scratching at her neck, and maggots come out. And I think it ends with Keiichi and Rena fighting on the rooftop. That's all I remember. That's either the fourth or the sixth arc. I'm leaning towards saying it's the sixth arc, since Keiichi is the icon for that one. So, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Seventh and eighth arc. I think the seventh arc is when Hanyu's introduced. I think that's also the first arc where the concept of Rika's whole time loop is introduced. I believe. It might have been introduced earlier, but I think it's then. I'm pretty sure it's in the seventh arc. I believe Hanyu's introduced in that arc, and Rika manages to get everyone together to fight against Takano, but they all die in the end. And then the 8th arc, it's like the same thing, except they actually win. That's all I remember from those 2 arcs, so yeah, that's basically the culmination of everything that I remember. Yeah. So now, let's pull up the menu, and people will unmute. Welcome back. Let's begin. It'd be hard for her to ask me to wake up my mom if she's not feeling well. The bell continued to ring at regular intervals. If someone didn't answer after you rang the bell so much, you'd normally give up and go home, wouldn't you? But I'm pretty sure I know who's at the door. Without removing the chain, I opened the door slightly and peered out at the visitor. A chill ran down my spine. I knew it. Somewhere deep inside, I had prepared for this moment. I had tried to escape by imagining it was the easiest person to deal with, one of my mom's friends. But nope, it's the demon, isn't it? Yeah. Good evening. Rena. There shouldn't be any reason for Rena to come over at this hour. The timing also made me feel uneasy, because it was just as I was about to ask Oishi-san about Rena. I wish I could have chalked this up to mere coincidence, but those unsettling words from Mion several days ago echoed back to me. There's nothing this old man doesn't know. Are you alone, Rena? Yeah. It seems that Mion wasn't with her, but that didn't change the situation at all. Why did you come here? Hey, Keiichi-kun. I'd like you to open the door so we can talk. Can I come inside, I wonder? It was true that speaking through a chained door wasn't the right way to talk to a classmate, but at my house, the chain has to be on at night. Don't worry about it. Then it can't be helped, I guess. Rena looked at the ground sadly, but she kept smiling at least, and her effort to keep that smile up was quite pitiful. Even though she was tugging at my heartstrings, I didn't lower my guard. As long as I stayed like this, even if it made my heart ache, my life wasn't in danger. What I really feared, more than the possibility that hoodlums would assault me if I removed the chain, was trusting Rena enough to remove the chain, and having my friendship betrayed. As long as the chain wasn't unlatched, even if it made my heart ache, I wouldn't have to deal with being betrayed by Rena. Since it didn't seem like I'd removed the chain from her slight urging, she appeared to give up on trying to get into the entranceway. Have you eaten yet, Keiichi-kun? No, I haven't eaten. Since my mom wasn't there, dinner wouldn't be ready no matter how long I waited. I laid down when I got home, was woken up by the phone, and didn't have a chance to eat since I used up all that time talking. I was going to have cup noodles in any case. I could just eat one whenever I wanted to. No, not yet. What about it? Then good. Look here. I brought a bunch of dishes. Rena held out a stack of boxes wrapped in a cloth. If I could use your kitchen, I can heat up the miso soup and other stuff. It's fine. You don't need to do that. But there's a lot of tofu and vegetables in it. Does Keiichi-kun not like that type of stuff, I wonder? There's no way I wouldn't like that. I love miso soup with lots of ingredients. White radish, carrots, burdock root, never heard of that, and potatoes, dense and fibrous root vegetables. Yeah, that miso soup looks incredible. I also brought rice, so if you microwave it, it'll be ready to eat in no time. Without a doubt, rice needs miso soup. Stuffing rice down your gullet, sipping miso soup in between ravenous bites. Oh yes, how wonderful it is to be born Japanese. Okay, dude. I actually got a comment last episode about "okay, dude" being the tagline for this series, because I've said it a lot in response to some of Keiichi's thoughts. Yeah, I definitely have, but it's like the best I can do, really. Also, I made some more pickles. I made sansai pickles this time. You think Keiichi's also hallucinating the stars? Before I had moved here to Hinamizawa, I scoffed at the mountain vegetables called sansai. But I was captivated by their charm the first time I tried them. Such a deep, yet light flavor. Those so-called supermarket vegetables taste rough and overpowering in comparison. If you had to describe them, then they were vegetables for the uninitiated. To become an expert such as myself, you first had to partake of sansai. It was common knowledge around here that the Ryugu family's traditional pickles were wonderfully delicious. No matter what kind of pickles they were, they'd go well with that fluffy white rice.
And also...
But wait, there's more! So delicious. It just seems so delicious. Farewell to my unhealthy self, who said he'd make do with cup noodles. Rena appeared to be in good spirits, and she was offering such a delicious-sounding dinner. The stress evaporated from my gut, and hunger reared its voracious head. At the same time, my wariness of Rena suddenly dwindled. Rena did say she was alone. It shouldn't be a problem letting her inside. Though, the possibility that it was laced with poison still hadn't been ruled out. At that moment, a cold chill ran down my spine once again. I couldn't understand why such a sensation had occurred just then, but the voice inside me was sounding the alarm. This happy Rena, speaking of this charming dinner, was dependent on one premise. And that premise was that tonight, dinner hadn't been made at my house, meaning it was under the assumption that my mom, who should be making it, wasn't here. Ooh, fair point. At any normal household, 7 o'clock would be around the middle of dinner time. If my mom were here, we'd be eating dinner around this time as well. The fact that she brought over all the makings of a meal at this time was inherently strange. Unless she knew. Rena, did she know that my parents weren't home? But there was also the chance that this was a bluff. I had turned on the lights and a bunch of other stuff to make it seem like my parents were here. There was a chance that Rena was unsure if my parents were home. But I had to wonder. The laundry, the garage, the evening paper. There were plenty of signs of them being hastily tidied up. It was hard to say that Rena didn't have a chance to determine if my parents were here or not. But there was no reason for me to confess that right now. I should try holding on to that fact as long as I could. First of all, the chain was still latched. As long as I didn't take it off, Rena wouldn't be able to do anything to me. I'm quite grateful, but dinner will be ready pretty soon.
Huh? Is that so? Is that so?
I know you went through all the effort and everything, but, well... Unable to think of a good way to refuse, my words trailed off weakly.
But some of this could work as side dishes, I think.
I'm sorry, we have more than enough already. My mom always makes quite a few sides, so...
Huh? You have side dishes?
With a smile that bordered on a cringe, I dodged her questions apologetically. But the feeling I tried to ignore began creeping up my back again. I spoke as if my mom was setting down dinner right now, but it didn't mesh well with what Rena was saying. Rena was talking as if she was aware of some obvious fact. And that, I was aware of it as well.
So Keiichi-kun can cook. What did you make, I wonder?
No, well, it's not that Rena had assumed out of nowhere that I had made the dishes. No, not so much that I'd made them, but rather that my mom hadn't.
Did you really make them? The side dishes? Did you, Keiichi-kun?
It wasn't me who made them. My mom did. No, she's making them. Right now. So you see, I'm sorry, but I can't eat what you brought. Rena fell silent at that moment. At that moment, I felt that the light had suddenly disappeared from her eyes.
How about I try guessing what Keiichi-kun's dinner will be?
It doesn't matter what I'm going to eat.
Let's see.
The conversation might appear natural at first glance, but Rena was firmly in control. It felt like I was being interrogated.
Your dinner, I wonder, is it something that can be made with just hot water?
Hey now, stop with the insults! I can't believe you'd belittle my mom's extravagant dinner like that. Tickets sold out, full capacity already. It's that amazing. Tried my best to put on a strong front, but I couldn't grit my teeth quite right. So instead, I looked like someone who was borderline hysterical. Good one. But Rena showed no reaction whatsoever, even to that silliness.
Keiichi-kun, did your mother really leave you dinner?
No, you see, she didn't leave me dinner. She's making it right now. It's almost time for dinner. Rena had taken that assertion of mine, that my mother was home and making dinner right now, and was completely ignoring it. I could tell that the more I panicked, the colder Rena became.
Hey, Keiichi-kun?
At that moment, an uncomfortable chill crept in from the gap in the doorway.
Is your mom home, I wonder?
I couldn't keep up the charade anymore. Rena. She knew full well that my parents weren't home. But I'd come too far to admit that now. Anyway, my parents were here and we'd be having dinner soon. That was the situation I had concocted. So I answered. I told her she was here. She's here, of course. I could feel the humidity drying out from the surrounding air. Rena's eyes were becoming even more frigid, piercing me with their glare. That.
Why?
Huh? What do you mean? I tried acting casual, but that facade... Hold on. Yeah, the music should be loud enough. I'm looking at the sound waves. Well, not the sound waves, the little bar on Bandicam, which is not reliable, but it's at least picking it up, so that should be good. I tried acting casual, but that facade was torn off me the instant I looked into Rena's eyes. That look, it informed me of Rena's response faster than she could open her mouth. Okay.
Why have you been lying to me, I wonder?
I'm not lying.
That's a lie, isn't it?
It's not a lie. Lies! Rena's outburst sent a jolt surging through my body. Rena and I were still separated by what few inches that slightly ajar but still chained door could afford. But despite that, I was still being cornered. My house, which I'd considered a safe haven until now, had become more like a dark alleyway where no one could save me.
Shall I guess your dinner, Keiichi-kun? Let's see.
I knew now that Rena had already known that my parents would not be here tonight. But it was still so strange that it had come to this. Whoa. Okay. That fucking squeaking in the song threw me off guard. What the hell? Even if she somehow knew that my parents weren't home, there was no way she should be able to guess what I'd be eating tonight. She definitely will. Fucking, I don't know why though, so that's weird. But Rena said she'd guess. How could she guess it? How could she know it was instant...
Cup noodles. That's right, isn't it?
That I was going to eat. Wait, the cooking repertoire of a man who can't do housework is probably nothing but cup noodles after all. Looking at this statistically, it was the most probable answer. But that didn't mean she was guessing.
I don't think you'll be full with just noodles. I think having rice and stuff will definitely hit the spot.
Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. This was just coincidence. Rena was just reading certain tales of mine. So the fact that she was inferring what I was thinking alarmed me. But it wasn't as if she was actually reading my mind. If it was being read, then she was a demon. No, not a demon. Things like that. They couldn't possibly exist.
Do you like them?
Do you mean noodles?
No.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to say. Rena indicated that the point my answer was addressing was wrong. Her rebuttal was so short that I momentarily didn't understand the words Rena had spoken. Sorry, Rena. What'd you say just now?
Huh? About what?
Just now, you asked me if there was something that I liked, didn't you? It wasn't long before I regretted how carelessly I'd pushed forward with that question. It was such a simple answer. That was why I wasn't able to comprehend it.
Pork bone and ginger flavor?
Okay. I wondered how I appeared in the moments my mind went completely blank until the moment I was able to recover. As my field of view began to distort, slowly swirling in a counterclockwise direction, I lost all sense of balance. Why do you know that? I didn't even deny it. That was the type of frenzied state I was in. How could Rena know even this? Not even caring as I mashed my head against the door, I fixated my gaze on Rena. But she didn't even flinch when she saw me do that. I certainly did buy them. I bought a bunch at once. I bought a whole case. How could you know that?
Why, I wonder? Quite strange, isn't it? isn't it?
How could you dodge the question at a time like this? The chain and the door suddenly were no longer protecting me. How do you know? Why do you know? Answer me!
You bought them at 7th Mart, didn't you?
A shiver ran up my spine. Again, apparently. I tried covering it up with an angry facade. Like I said, why do you know that?
I was behind you, following you the whole time.
What are you saying? I couldn't understand why she was saying she'd been following me all this time.
That's because Rena was right behind Keiichi-kun's back the whole time.
Like that night? That night I was absorbed in my phone conversation with Oishi-san. I didn't even sense her being there, standing behind a door. Behind me. Standing there. Just like that?
When Keiichi was picking out the noodles, I was watching the entire time. You picked out so many different flavors, didn't you? Then your mom got angry. If you're going to pick the expensive ones, then you should pick just one type, she said. Then Keiichi-kun picked out that big box of pork bone and ginger flavor that he loves so much, didn't he? I like it too. Pork bone noodles. But I can never eat a whole big bowl myself.
My brain was paralyzed, dulling my senses. It might have been a defense mechanism, to diminish the fear I was feeling to non-traumatizing levels. With the fear being diminished, the fog enveloping my mind was cleared away. Then, I could understand what Rena was saying and started to put meaning behind her words. Even so, my fear hadn't subsided completely. It was like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, eyes closed so I didn't have to look down. It didn't actually solve any of the basic problems. I slowly took a step backwards, and as I withdrew, Rena advanced.
So, Keiichi-kun, can you open this? We can eat dinner together. I'm sure it's going to be delicious, so... Okay?
Rena's pale, slender fingers squirmed through the crack in the door one at a time, as if they had a mind of their own, rattling the chain. If she had unlatched the chain from the door, a feeling of terror would have just exploded within me. But Rena didn't do that. She was simply imploring me to remove the chain. I tried my hardest to light the fuse to the powder keg in my heart, trying again and again. Clatter, clatter. But it doesn't light. It doesn't light!
Open up? Keiichi-kun?
Please go away. I beg you, please go away!
How can you say something so mean, I wonder?
Please go away! Go away! I can't scream that fucking loud. Go away! The powder keg inside me finally went off. No smoldering, it just exploded. I tackled the door. The force through the door had knocked had knocked Rena momentarily off balance. I couldn't hesitate here. I grabbed onto the doorknob with both hands, planted my feet firmly, and pulled with all my might. But that slamming sound I so desired didn't happen. Right, because she's gonna have to say goodbye to her fingers. I could feel a tiny, disturbing bit of resistance keeping the door from closing. And the source of that was Rena's fingers. Each of those fingers wriggling, squirming around like the tendrils of a carnivorous plant through the crack in the doorway. What was that sound? I thought I just heard something.
It hurts. It hurts, Keiichi-kun. It hurts. Ugh.
It wasn't a harsh shriek, but more of a yelp she was trying to keep back. Go away! Go away! Go away! I kept on pulling on the door with all my might. I didn't even realize that if I didn't loosen my pull on the door at least momentarily, Rena wouldn't be able to pull her fingers out, and that was why the door wasn't closing.
It really hurts, Keiichi-kun. I'm sorry if I was messing around too much. Ugh.
I didn't care one bit for her apology. No matter how much she apologized, it didn't change any of what she had done up until now. The squeaking in the song is fucking, like, making my brain short circuit. What the hell? It didn't change anything.
It hurts. It hurts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Go away. Go away. Go away! Rena couldn't leave even Rena couldn't leave even if she wanted to because I trapped her fingers. Yeah, so maybe you should, like, loosen the door a little bit, then close it, like, you fucking madman. Rena's white fingers had become deep red and were no longer even squirming.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Go away, go away, go away!
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Rena's apologies were occasionally twisted with pain, but like a broken record, she was intent on repeating it over and over. Go away, go away, go away! Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it! I pulled on the door even harder. Finally, Rena's fingers were somehow able to slip out from their imprisonment in the doorway. Oh, really? Oh, I thought she lost her fingers in this scene, actually. I guess I'm really remembering wrong, holy shit. The moment that happened, the door closed soundly, and I could hear the thud of Rena falling on her butt on the other side. I locked the door immediately, made a loud clunk, voicing my rejection to Rena.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Keiichi-kun, I'm sorry. Open up, Keiichi-kun.
I can't voice that very well. That's difficult. Rena leaned against the door, apologizing profusely and nothing else. After confirming that I was sufficiently sealed off from her, I trudged away from the entryway. On the other side, I could still hear Rena echoing her apology. Oh, I know what's coming next then. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Those pitiful words. They would be forever seeking my forgiveness. I didn't feel bad about this at all, but that wasn't out of any sort of malice. I felt a sort of hazy sense of relief that I was able to escape from Rena. Before, Mion had threatened me at this doorway, saying there was nothing she didn't know. And just now, at the same place, Rena told me the same thing. My feeble attempts to disguise the fact my parents weren't home had served no purpose from the start. I should have just pretended to be out, and not even opened the door. My meager plans hadn't helped at all. In Hinamizawa, it was possible to outwit them. Even though I was on the other side of the door, I wanted to... Fucking squeaking, stop! I wanted to get as far away from Rena as possible. 1 step, 2 steps. With each one, her sniveling apologies became more distant. I sprinted up the stairs and dove into my room. As you would expect, I was finally no longer able to hear Rena repeating her endless apology. Then, diving into my bed, I was startled by the hard lump I felt. There was something in my bed? The phone, you dumbass! It was the receiver. I finally remembered. I was in the middle of a call with Oishi-san. Looking at the clock, apparently not much time had passed since I went downstairs. Could it be that my clock had run out of batteries? I had talked with Rena for so long. How did almost no time pass? But the hand on the clock was ticking forward 1 second every second as usual. As I put the still warm receiver to my ear, time, which felt frozen, began moving once again. Hello? Oishi-san? Sorry to keep you waiting. No, not at all. I didn't wait that long. It became apparent that the amount of time that had passed between myself and Oishi-san was different. Over the phone, I could hear an energetic voice from a sports program or something. It drove home just how far away Oishi-san really was. Rena came just now. Did she come to play? I wasn't confident that I could coherently explain the situation to Oishi-san, but I didn't need to right now. Right now, I needed to know about Rena. That's right, I was planning to ask Oishi-san more about Rena, but Rena's little visit had interrupted the conversation. What was true and what was false, I couldn't tell. The one thing I knew was the single grim reality that Rena was suspicious. I might be able to figure something out if I asked Oishi-san about her. Up until now, I had regretted it whenever I forced myself to ask about things that I was better off not knowing. But looking at it that way, you could say I'd hit rock bottom. There was no possible way I could feel any more regret than I did right now. No, rather, I wanted to know if there was anything beyond this I would regret more. Forget about tomorrow, it wasn't out of the realm of possibility for something to happen tonight. I wanted to know everything I could. I was absolutely not going to die like this. Not without knowing anything. I definitely won't. Regarding Rena Ryugu-san, I did a bit of digging. Yeah, well, it wasn't much. I understood that Oishi-san was talking in circles. A bit meant I dug so deep it'd be hard to discuss with you since you're her friend. I want to know everything from your research. I don't think you'll be very interested in what I have to say, though. Oishi-san. I spoke as calmly as possible to Oishi-san, who was continuing to avoid the issue. And then I said it. I think Rena Ryugu is suspicious. Even if the past incidents were from Oyashiro-sama's curse, Rena Ryugu is involved. Do you have some sort of proof that makes you believe Rena-san is suspicious? The manner in which Oishi-san spoke became very firm. Do you have some sort of proof? That was him talking as a detective. I only have circumstantial evidence. I see. I could tell even over the phone how disappointed Oishi-san was. Pulling on the fishing line when he felt a bite, only to reel in the bait. Disappointed, but ready to cast the line once more. That's how it seemed. Oishi-san, you can't do anything without physical proof, can you? What I meant was, you can't come and save me without proof? I stuck that barb in there. As Oishi-san loved roundabout ways of saying things, he understood me just fine. It's fine, Maebara-san. I'll protect you. That was not the least bit reassuring. Oishi-san was just using me to continue his investigation. I was just going to get killed, and my corpse would be an important piece of evidence. That was all I was to him. Whether I'm alive or dead may be of no concern to your investigation, but it's all over for me when I die. Oishi-san went silent on the other end of the line. That may have been too blunt, but I didn't care. All I needed to relay to Oishi-san was that I was currently in a very dangerous position. So, please, tell me. Tell me about Rena. Satoshi transferred out. Not too far in the future, I'll probably also do what Rena called transferring out as well. But you won't be able to find my corpse. You haven't even been able to find Satoshi's body yet. Alright, Maebara-san, please calm down. I was already suppressing my agitation, even without Oishi-san having to tell me. It wouldn't solve anything if I continued to scream about my mistrust in the police. It would seem that I could only depend on myself and the bat Satoshi left behind to protect myself. Then I at least wanted to know about what happened before Rena transferred schools. You're aware that this won't be very interesting, right? Oishi-san, realizing my resolve couldn't be swayed, finally caved. Right now, to me, there is nothing that I'll find uninteresting. Please. There are a few things I need you to agree to. Okay? Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested? Might not be true? I don't understand what you mean. There isn't one main investigation for the mysterious chain of deaths in Hinamizawa. Each one is treated as its own individual case. Thus, Rena Ryugu has never been linked to any of the investigations. Basically, you see, this is an investigation of Rena done by the police, and is a personal inquiry, is what you're telling me? This'll make things a lot quicker, since you understand. All of it is from either phone calls or meetings and interviews, so they aren't corroborated. I'm asking you to take this all with a grain of salt, is what I mean. Do we have an agreement? All of it is just from what you heard? Yes, my apologies. It's all my personal investigation, you see. And that thing. Before, you said you saw Rena's chart, didn't you? I'm sure I heard you say that. Oishi-san paused for a moment on the other end of the line. I told you that too? Please pretend you didn't hear anything about that. I didn't care about Oishi-san having certain obligations and responsibilities. I also didn't care if there was no proof. Even if they were just rumors, there's no smoke without fire after all. Please tell me, Oishi-san. Understood. Oishi-san finally opened those tight lips of his. It seemed that Rena lived in Hinamizawa a long time ago. She had moved to Ibaraki Prefecture just before starting elementary school. Then, following that, right after transferring, the unfortunate incident with the breaking of the school windows happened. Then Rena confided to the doctor. It was Oyashiro-sama. This was everything I knew. There isn't much difference between what I know and what you know, Maebara-san. Then what part did you investigate further? I didn't need to ask. It was the incident right before she transferred back to Hinamizawa. the incident Rena was responsible for, and what she divulged to the doctor afterwards. Correct? Yes. After you learned about that, you started suspecting Rena and the others, didn't you? Yes, I did suspect them. So they're the ones after all? Nah, no. That's not what I mean by suspect them. Oishi-san was the type of person to say things with confidence, but these particular words were less than reassuring. Then, who did you suspect? That it was Oyashiro-sama. Huh? That Oyashiro-sama's curse really exists. Yeah, right. Well, Oishi-san's laugh was quite dry. Certainly not the kind that would make you want to join in. Oishi-san continued means the same thing. Awesome. Resumed the conversation. About the dubious circumstances behind Satoshi's disappearance. The course of events leading him to delve into Rena's past. Just then, there was thunder in the distance, and a heavy rain started pouring down. Ooh. It came without warning, a downpour fiercely beating the ground. I had left the window in my room open a crack to let the heat out. The violent wind danced into my room, making the curtains flap wildly. What is it? Nothing. It suddenly started raining heavily. Sorry, please continue. I got up while still on the phone and grasped the window. I said at the beginning it was an incident, but because neither the school nor the victims filed charges, the police were never involved. So you see, those involved were very reluctant to talk. Regardless of there being a victim who had one eye beaten so badly that it had permanent damage. It could have been the school or possibly some individual who made arrangements to keep this from going public. Also, the psychologist was very strict about their professional ethics. Hello? Maebara-san? Can you hear me? There was the figure of a person standing by the light near the mailbox this whole time. Even in this torrential rain, they didn't have an umbrella. They were unquestionably drenched from head to toe. In the shower, which more resembled a waterfall, droplets of water dripped down from her hair. Oh, Jesus. Oh, her fucking fingers. Oh, jeez, dude. Just standing there, both arms dangling at her side. In one hand was a stack of boxes wrapped in cloth. Her eyes focused on my room. Focused on me as I was about to close the window. Her mouth was methodically repeating a chewing motion. It was as if she had something hard to chew in her mouth, with her cheeks puffing out. What could she be eating over there? How could it be that at this time, I was more enthralled by Rena, instead of the shocking developments being brought to light by Oishi-san? If it hadn't started raining, I wouldn't have gone to the window. Then I wouldn't have noticed Rena, nor would I have noticed that. Rena's mouth was moving in the same pattern. She wasn't eating something, she was repeating something. What was it? Was she repeating to me? What was she saying? And why was I right up against the window, fixated on her? Hello? Maebara-san? Can you hear me? Hello? I'm sorry. Huh? Maebara-san? I'm sorry. Hello? Maebara-san? What's the matter? Even in this torrential downpour, Rena was still apologizing. Yeah, that she was. The other self inside me drew the curtain hastily with my right hand, blocking my view of the outside. But even doing that, Rena's relentless apologies still reached my ears. I'm sorry. If I forgive you for this, will you forgive me for that? Please stop. Please stop. I'm sorry. Damn it! Why should I have to forgive her? I'm the one who wants to be forgiven. What part of me can't you forgive? I won't be killed. If you won't forgive me, then I won't forgive you either. I won't forgive. Won't forgive. I won't forgive. Maebara-san, if you can hear me, then please respond. Hello? And then does it end? Yep-er-doo-dah. Alright, well that's the last thing that I remember happening in this chapter other than the very end. So, this could be the last. Okay. New tips unlocked. Split personality and at the 7th mark. Huh. Achievement unlocked. Reign of apologies. Oh, Jesus. Huh. Alright, well, let's look at these new tips. This one I feel like is going to be interesting. But we got to start with split personality. I don't know what the fuck this would be about, but whatever. Reporter. I see it in movies quite often, but what is it exactly? Professor. Multiple personalities are thought to be escapism. Multiple personality disorder is a form of escape? Correct. The exact mechanism is not fully understood, but it's believed to be a type of defense for the brain to retain mental stability. Hypothetically, poor people imagining themselves as wealthy is a form of escapism, is it not? Is this also a form of multiple personality disorder? I wouldn't go that far, but broadly speaking, one could infer that. It's something that occurs in us all. Does a split personality occur when one cannot tell which is reality and which is the escape? That's difficult to say. There are some who agree with that and some who disagree. There is no consensus. Then is the occurrence of multiple personality still an unknown phenomenon? Something not fully comprehended in the psychiatric field? Unfortunately, that is the current state of things. We can only put our hope in future research. But it's sorta cool having a split personality. What kind of people get split personalities? Brothers who are upset that they killed their younger brother, for one. Also, people who think they're a witch because they hate their entire family. Recent studies find that those who develop it, or rather, those who are more susceptible to developing it, may be genetically predisposed or may have had abnormal mental development. Some say that childhood abuse increases the chances. Speaking of which, Person A here experienced abuse as a child, didn't he? How sad. Person A has 7 different personalities. Jesus. Let's watch a video of him. Right after these commercials! Is that a bit? Was that a joke? Ryukishi? What you doing? A later tip's gonna show us some more then? Huh, alright. At the 7th mark. So is this gonna show Rena following him around? I'm hoping. The 7th mart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol. Yeah. What's this, Keiichi? So many. There's no reason to get all the different kinds, is there? I flopped all the different colored cup noodle bowls into the cart. Cup noodles have gotten so elaborate recently, and there are a bunch of different types. I'm gonna try each of them at least once. I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try. Keiichi! Buy them in the big case, it's cheaper. Dad faltered. Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Now that Dad had thrown his hat into the ring, I'd have to compromise. Then I'd only get to eat one kind. I'd get bored with it. I was resisting as a formality. I'd already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get. If you can't pick, then Mommy will pick for you. You don't have to rush me. I quickly searched the cases of noodles for what I want. Pork bone and ginger, large cup. Hey, Keiichi, can't you get a more normal one? If I let Mom pick, she'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored. I was actually talking in Discord to some of my friends last night. There's a video on my channel called Slurp, where me, I think Ben, Alex, and Colby are playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And there's one point about halfway through the video, Alex is eating ramen during it, where he just puts his bowl right next to the mic and slurps up some noodles. So I call him out on it, and this was a couple years ago. Very funny video. I enjoy that moment very much. And last night we were talking about that video. Alex and Nick, these people are people who showed up in my multiplayer videos, like Among Us and stuff like that. So if you don't know who I'm talking about, watch a few of those and you'll know who I'm talking about. Or don't, and just keep track of names, I guess. So, Nick, I don't remember how exactly it was brought up, but we were talking about whether or not you keep water in the ramen when you eat it. And I live in America. I've never had, like, real ramen. There's only, like, the Maruchan kind that you find in Walmart and crap like that. And I was saying that it doesn't make it taste any different whether you have the water in it or not. And Nick and Alex were both being like, what the fuck, that's wrong. And Nick said, put soy sauce in it, and I was like, that does not sound all that good, but I'll try it. And then this was last night. This morning, Seth, who's only showed up in one of my multiplayer videos, it was specifically the first Super Mario Maker 2 one, in case you can't find him anywhere, he said, actually, Owen, it is pretty good and you should try it. So now I'm just being pressured by my friends to put soy sauce in my ramen. Fine, I'll do it, jeez! Story just from the game saying soy sauce and ramen in the same sentence, huh? So when I plonked a large box of pork bone flavor into shopping cart, Mom looked back at me with an expression as if to say, these ones? To show her this was my last compromise, I began explaining the choice. Pork bone is good! You get a large serving, but the flavor isn't too strong. I remembered insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind. Ugh. Okay. Rena. In this frozen memory in time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around my surroundings. So I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision, sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, and I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation, searching, but of course I couldn't find her. Yeah, 'cause you're just fucking stupid, dude. Then, was she spying at me from my blind spot? I go through the sound and presences again, looking. I could sense the other customers. They were all mixed about, moving as they please. There was nobody looking over this way and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled. What the fuck? Oh, I thought I saw something weird in my window. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. Then I paused my mental replay as a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. That was a terror unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around to check for it. But the world had moved on and there was no way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store searching for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodle section, bad-mouthing my mom. But there was that presence constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box. Tip-tap. But listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap. Pip-pat, pip-pat, pip-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Pip-pat, pip-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Pip-pat, pip-pat. I think I get it! While I was running, the sound of those barefoot footsteps going pit-pat were right behind mine. Barefoot? What, do people not wear shoes in supermarkets in Japan? What? Me running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. I didn't think I had heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That is why I didn't turn around. In that moment, the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I had ran at that time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. Since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That is why it made no sound. That was all. At that time, I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, it followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark. A sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turn on the light. Except my body couldn't move. As if I was sewn into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self's hair stood on end. That's impossible? Now that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved. So you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move, so you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules. Pit-pat. Yet that sound echoed into darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck pricked up on end. It was so close that it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move? Like how the presence was moving behind me. I quickly realized I could move. Just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. It was something unforgivable in this moment in time. But I needed to turn around immediately. As if my entire being was trying to force me to stop, it began to administer a pain like a needle being stuck into my every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I was unable to vocalize. Okay, sure. I turned around. At first, I couldn't understand the meaning of it. What? What is this? Just as a person's mouth might bite into an apple, slurp the juices, and finally discover that it was an apple, my mind began to process the scene before my eyes by eating the apple. Munch, munch, chew, chew. Chugga, chugga, chew, chew. Slurp the juices and discover the apple. Meaning, what was in front of me was... Well, the game voiced it for me. I don't feel like screaming, you know? That was less helpful than I thought it would be. Achievement unlocked, Detective Onikakushi. Excuse me? But boom! What does that mean? Alright, let's continue. I might have to stop soon because I have class in 20 minutes, but we'll see. Good morning. I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. I tried to stay awake all night, but there were definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in a panic all night. I spent all night hugging the metal bat and sat on top of the futon I used to barricade my door. Waiting, watching just in case someone tried to break in through my window. If I left this spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attack me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. I tried telling myself that I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. It was so much better to just stay awake. At some point during that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside, but that was it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just the sun simply having risen. I snuck a peek out through the curtains. Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time, but I needed to make my own breakfast, so I'd better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable. So staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Oishi-san wouldn't help me without cold, hard evidence. Neither he, nor my parents. So, unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing and regained my senses. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Take note of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and faith. Faith? Nice. I wasn't just protecting myself. I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. Alright, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's back. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength. And entrust your dying regrets to me, since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. Of course, I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rena or Mion, I needed to leave now. The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the hallway entryway. Right. I meant to clean that up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now. And considering what would happen if I ran into Rena or Mion, it wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Keep your guard up, Keiichi Maebara. The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me. Good one. Yeah, I think we're definitely coming up on the end. Depends on how fast they move through time. Alright, well you're already at school. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was my natural routine. After a while, Rena arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night, as if it never happened. But I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Satoko and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen, though it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Oishi-san shared about Rena's incident before her transfer played vividly in my mind. Now that I knew about it, I couldn't even dream of Rena as a cute, ideal girl. Kei-chan, I see you're still aiming for the nationals. It was Mion. I already sensed her approach, so I wasn't that surprised. No, Mion. If you understand, then leave me alone. I'm busy practicing. I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tacitly keeping Mion from getting any closer. Hey, Kei-chan, take it easy. I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest. Homeroom's not that far off, is it? So let me finish practicing. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. Kei-chan, when did you get into baseball? Just recently. Recently? You mean yesterday? Don't ask if you already know. Oh, dear. That's a very unsportsmanlike reply. You're distracting me. Go away. I ignored Mion and kept swinging. Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. But Mion just stood there, waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility, but we were at school in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me here. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out. You need me for something, right? What is it? Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. Oh, don't worry, you will. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around with me. Well, it's nothing important. If you're tired, I can ask again later. Now is fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judge the situation to be safe. Talking to you alone and away from others? It's out of the question. Well, Mion was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words. But unlike Oishi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But then she gave a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire. This old man's just no good at this stuff. Having a poor vocabulary hurts. What's this all of a sudden? If you have something to say, just say it. Stop it. Stop that swinging. She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank, I didn't understand it for a moment. I can't read at all. I had already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I? I just stopped, didn't I? That's not what I meant. I want today to be the last day you swing that bat. I'm sorry. Took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat? Why? It's none of your business, is it? I'm not bothering anyone, am I? You are. Mion said it flat out. This didn't make any sense, and that was really irritating. When did I bother anybody?
Mion
was at a loss for words, but she finally made up her mind and spoke, though she stuttered as she said it.
But because Kei-chan, that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow it without permission.
It was left behind by a student who transferred, right? I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it.
Huh? Yeah. He transferred.
Mion grew uncharacteristically flustered. That made it all too clear that his transfer was a lie. But strange, isn't it? For the older brother to transfer by himself, while his little sister stayed behind? Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up.
Kei-chan, you knew?
Satoshi Hojo, Satoko's older brother, right? The one demoned away last year. Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent. Rena asked the same thing. Why did you start swinging that bat? She told me Satoshi did the same thing, practicing his swings, right before he went missing. So, is this some kind of omen for Oyashiro-sama's curse?
Shh!
Mion panicked and looked around.
Please, Kei-chan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly. I don't believe in him, but the others very much do.
Rena especially. Dangerously so.
Anyway, you're scaring everyone. If you're just fooling around, then stop it. You have to stop acting like Satoshi.
I was the one who was scared. Who do I have to thank for taking up this bet in the first place? But it still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions. I'll say this now. I don't know anything about Satoshi. After all, you didn't tell me anything about him.
We didn't mean to hide it.
You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you?
No, that's because we didn't want to,
You didn't want to scare me? That's your reason for leaving me out?
No, we didn't mean to.
Mion, I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I? And you told me nothing happened. When someone was dismembered and murdered, you lied to me.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lie to you.
Friends don't hide things from each other, right? Isn't that right? Then you all aren't my friends, because you don't dance!
What does that mean? Kei-chan,
Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could have imagined Mion acting like this. Oh, by the way, those get well mochi you brought the other day? They were good. I thought I was going to bleed. Who did it? You? Or Rena?
Me?
She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was. You could have killed me. How could you do that to a friend?
But it was just a little prank.
Okay, we're going into spoiler time for a minute. So, yeah, starting now. Holy fuck, it was just a prank, actually? What? That's a fucking vile prank, Mion. What the shit? Okay, well, boop. Welcome back. Mion gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me. You think that was a prank? I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi. It was a needle. A sewing needle. If I had swallowed that and it lodged in my throat, what did she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. Oh, wait, hold on. Guys. Spoiler time again, starting now. It wasn't a needle, was it? The needle was a fucking illusion. Wasn't it? Alright, well, okay. Welcome back. Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mion Sonozaki I knew anymore. Anyways, you're not my friend. There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend. So just leave me alone for a while. Got it? Mion wasn't replying anymore. Won't be that easy to erase me, you know? The cops have been on to you from the start. So don't think you can make me disappear like you did Satoshi. I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war. I think you guys are suspects in the previous incidents too. I also know you've spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement. Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that?
How?
did you know? Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ringing the bell for school. It was time for morning homeroom. Let's go. The class representative needs to be there, right? At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks. You're so mean, Kei-chan. I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty. I'm going. Don't be late for homeroom. I left Mion, still shaking, as I turned around to head for the entrance. Okay. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself. So that's how it is. Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion talking to herself. But it was a sobbing voice that had a kind of giddy, cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her. Okay. So it was that bastard. He leaked it all to Kei-chan. She balled up her fists as her tears continued to rain down. Who even is Oishi to these guys? She glared at a spot at the ground with a terrifying, yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. This transformation, Mion's transformation, was different from Rena's. I should have killed him back then. Oh, okay. He forgot the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year. Retiring this year? Was she talking about Oishi-san? Damn it. Damn it. I'm going to kill that damn old man. Ugh! Felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral. Bending. Whirling. This was the first time I'd experienced such a visage. Rise! Attention! Mion made up an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts. What, she wears contacts? Okay. After that, neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Neither Satoko nor Rika-chan looked me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The months since I transferred in had been almost too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today, it felt oddly refreshing. Got no friends to hold me down. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense, yet so dull. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join into the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home without even looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance. I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. But deep down inside me, far beneath in the recesses of my heart, achingly, I knew this would be the last day of this cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be, whether it would end as I wished it to end, or if it would end as I hoped it wouldn't. Regardless, in my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. There was something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere, mixed in with their shrieks, Tamatake-san and Satoshi were also probably trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When I do realize it, I wonder if I will be amongst the Higurashi, fruitlessly crying to the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw a Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly. Bleat, bleat, bleat. There was still much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened. But I had to try. I had to try to listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me. Alright, well, I'm gonna take a break for now because I got class. I will be back in a couple hours, even though for you guys it won't be like any time at all. It'll be right now. Test. Okay, class is over. Let's continue. Why do I have my blanket on me? I turned off my frickin' AC and closed the windows, so I'll probably be warm, so yeah. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once, as if they had huddled together, fearing that the person who'd brought them to their dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. A presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all of my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long, but in this moment when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly amongst the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No. Since I was able to hear their footsteps, they were probably also able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I'd hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me. Was it Rena? Just like yesterday. If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it wasn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guessed. The footsteps ambled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip on my bat. I could tell that the fear that I had beaten back once was now waiting for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind a tree at the person following me. Oh, howdy. And you've got your... looks like you've got your cleaver, unless that's... No, that's definitely over you. My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Rena. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew, but that feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless, but her mouth appeared as if it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And in her right hand... Oh, yep, it is. Was a hatchet. I hid myself behind a tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was that just now? The embodiment of terror. Laid bare. Baseball, practicing my swing. There were tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat. But for that hatchet? There was no excuse for that. A hatchet? Just like that?
Keiichi-kun, are you playing hide-and-seek, I wonder? I wonder?
My heart was pounding. Hard enough that I had trouble breathing. What little composure I had been able to hold on to was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Not good, not good, not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here.
Were you trying to scare me, I wonder? I wonder?
I decided that it'd be better to reveal myself now, since there was still space between us, than to allow Rena to come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again, readied myself mentally, and stepped out from behind the tree.
I found you, Keiichi-kun.
Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact that I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. My legs began to quiver. Not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of some viscous hot and cold substance began spreading around. If I allowed it, that substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs in my body. Okay, dude. Not good, not good. I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose. What is it? I blustered, hiding behind my bravado. But Rena didn't flinch one bit.
Just the same as Keiichi-kun. I'm heading home.
Then what about that hatchet?
Then what about that bat you're holding?
I'm practicing my swing.
Then I'm treasure hunting.
Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon. She had it earlier in the game, you dumbass. I mean, to be fair, though, you're too far gone. Treasure hunting?
At the treasure mountain near the dam site, I found a new cute thing. So I needed this to dig it out.
How could I believe that?
You wouldn't believe it, would you?
Rena's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before, but the one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say. It was just so obvious.
Wait, Keiichi-kun.
Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Rena got too close to me, I would scurry away and turn back towards her. The cycle repeated over and over. No matter how you looked at it, I was being chased by Rena and was trying to escape. Don't follow me!
I can't do that. My house is this way after all.
When I met with Rena on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different. Rena didn't show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine. I just changed my route. That'd work out, wouldn't it? I turned onto a side street I'd never been down and knew little about. But Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home down the street you normally do. Why would you follow me down this weird little side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth. Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror.
Because I want to talk to Keiichi-kun. Keiichi-kun wants to talk to Rena too, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
I don't want to talk about anything with you.
That's a lie, isn't it? There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there?
Not at all. I have nothing to talk to you about.
That's a lie, isn't it?
It's not a lie. Oh, okay, Jesus Christ. How many times do you... That's a new sprite, too. How many times is she gonna fucking do this? I don't remember her doing it 3 times in the anime. Rena's scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into flight. Look at deja vu. I cringed in fear. The only other thing I could do was increase my pace.
Let's talk, Keiichi-kun. Talk.
Why was I running down this unfamiliar and deserted street?
Doesn't Keiichi-kun have something he's worried about?
Nothing at all! I'm not worried about anything.
Lies!
4. Even though I was running, even though Rena was walking, why wasn't I getting any farther away? Maybe it's a dream.
I know. I really do know. You're scared, aren't you, Keiichi-kun?
I'm not scared! I'm not scared of anything! Lies! Okay. My breathing grew heavy and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat.
I'll listen. This time I'll listen.
I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do.
This time I'll listen. It'll be different from the time with Satoshi-kun.
When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, Rena was still advancing. I couldn't afford to stop.
Satoshi-kun was worried too. It looked like he was having such a hard time. But I didn't listen. It was so sad.
Where did the street connect to? All these twists and turns, ups and downs. It's hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. My sense of direction had long since gone out the window.
I really regretted it when Satoshi-kun transferred out. I thought that if I had listened, he may not have transferred out. I really regretted that.
The road led me deeper into the forest. Wasn't I getting farther away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite this realization, my inner self was still disturbingly calm.
So you see, I vowed. I vowed that if there was someone struggling like Satoshi-kun did, I'd save them. I don't want to see anyone transfer out again.
Damn it! What does transfer even mean? I won't let you transfer me. I won't end up the same as Satoshi.
Come on, Keiichi-kun, talk to me. I'll be able to understand you, Keiichi-kun. I'm your ally.
I started wheezing, out of breath. My lungs were so hot that they felt like they were going to explode, and my heart was beating as hard as it possibly could. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at that stupid thought.
If Keiichi-kun doesn't have anything to worry about, he'll go back to normal. Everyone will be back to being friends, and we can enjoy club activities again. Next time we'll team up and beat Michan.
Fucking game crops that one. Yeah, how much fun that would be. Rena couldn't even imagine how much I had wished I could turn back the clock on these past few days.
You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go searching for treasure again. This time I'll prepare a nice lunch. Actually, we could just go right now. Let's go up to the dam site together. I'll show you the cute thing I just found. I'm sure you'll like it, too.
Okay, dude. My footsteps made pathetic flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. Hot on my heels, Rena's steps were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by Rena. If she caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. I couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. Just that if I was caught, it was all over. It's all I knew. It didn't matter how it was going to end. I wouldn't let it end. Not without knowing anything. Not yet!